Welcome to the Everyday Joy podcast. I'm your host, Joy Ravella. Let's get into today's verse.
Proverbs 20 verse 7 in the ERV translation. When people live good, honest lives, their children, they're blessed.
Once again in studio, I have the lovely Jo Chapman. Jo, you are a mum of 4.
Yes.
How old are your kids?
My kids are 22, 20, 18 and 15.
Right, so you've got the whole spectrum.
Yeah, I've still got it. I've got a teen, a couple of teens and a couple of young adults.
What's your favourite thing about being a mum?
I just love caring for them. I think I'm one of those people that probably does too much. I love to serve and I love to encourage them. I'm the mum that tells them every day, I love you. I believe in you. You're amazing. And I just love fanning the flame of their little hearts.
Well, today's verse is all about children and how when we live good, honest lives, the Bible says their children will be blessed. Proverbs 27, the focus today. Jo, what's your first impression of this verse?
2 things. My first impression is I'm so glad God said good, when people live a good life, not a perfect life. So that's a little sigh of, I might be able to do that.
Haven't messed this one up.
Haven't messed this one up. And the other thing is what does blessed mean? Because it doesn't mean a life without problem or a life without challenge. To me, being blessed is not the absence of those things.
Right. Wow. We'll definitely unpack that a little later. Jo, what does this verse tell you about who God is or what matters to him?
I think God is an encourager. He's the ultimate encourager because this is an encouragement. When you live a good life, your children will be blessed. It's sharing with us that to think about what you're doing now because it has future consequences. And I think every action has a consequence. And he's just saying to us, when you, in your own person, in your own life as an individual, can do good, the generations are blessed. So you are making a difference for little people you haven't met yet.
That's incredible. Yeah, when you think of it that way. My great-grandfather, way back in India, he was the sort of one of the elders of the village that he lived in, and a missionary came and he made a decision to become a Christian. And he had 12 sons, and one of his sons, my grandfather, he started all these like theological institutes. He's still alive. He's still doing all of those things. He's incredible.
Yeah.
And then I think 3 of his 4 sons are involved in ministry. And then my life, obviously, doing this podcast, doing Christian radio, and I just think that his one decision just flowed through the generations in such a powerful way. So, yeah, 100%. Your decisions today, you have no idea how they'll affect your children and your children's children.
Absolutely.
What's your story, Jo, that you want to share around how this verse applies to your life?
I think for me, it really, as I was thinking about it, shows that godliness should first and foremost be molded in the home, through our daily lives and everything that we say and everything that we do. People are always watching us, It's not a pressure, it's a challenge. And it's a divine opportunity because, what does love look like from God to others? What does it look like to care for people? What is the modelling and example that people, if they were to summarise you in an elevator pitch, they would say about you, especially your children? And I just want to share a story about being a single mum. So when you think about a good life, and what your children will think of you, I was thinking about it in the wrong way. So I want to tell you what not to do. My ex-husband and his wife, they're quite wealthy and they have the ability to do lots of things with their children, whereas I am a single mum with limited income and I can't do what they do. So when I was first separated and divorced, my ex-husband has taken my children to Disneyland. They've been on a big European cruise. He's able to buy them the latest Doc Martens or the Nike runners or whatever is happening. And, I often used to think, what sort of life am I giving my children? And this comes back to your definition of blessed. And my own mum, the generation above me, used to say to me, Jo, your kids aren't going to remember Disneyland in the way that you think. They're not going to remember that they could have all of those things that wealth or experience can bring. They are going to remember stability. They're going to remember a consistent mum. They're going to remember how safe and open you were. They're going to remember what you model. And I thought about it. Didn't take me too long to see it. I'm really grateful that my ex-husband and his wife can do that, have a good relationship with them, and they also are modelling stability and those other things. But what is the measure of blessed? And as I said before, it's not the absence of problem. It's how you handle problem. It's how you are inspiring. It's how you position yourself to make decisions that enable other people, empower other people. And so I've been hard on my eldest daughter. She has had addictions. She has, I've had to say that she can't stay at my home. She has mental health issues that have led to self-medication. She is beautiful and gorgeous in so many ways, but she has mental health needs. And I've had to at times say, you can't live with me. And it has been heartbreaking to me because I've had to help her help herself by getting extra care from other places. And she didn't talk to me for a while. And my heart was broken, but I said to her, I love you always and forever. I will never, ever let you go. But I've had to be tough at times. But I'm also big on traditions and fun and board games and favourite meals, the small things. If any of my children put their drink bottle down, I, without thinking, fill it up and put it back in the fridge. They laugh about it. It's the small things that kids remember. But I want to share this with you. After all the difficulties with my 22-year-old, the other day she posted something on Facebook. And this is where I was so blessed, and I could see the blessing of God on her and my other children by just doing your best, by doing good as a mum, which is just your very best, bringing godliness into your home. And the meme was this: the mother is the first teacher of the child. The message she gives that child will then give to the world. She wrote underneath that post and tagged me, Joe Chapman, thank you for teaching me to love others like you do. I may not always get it right, but the values you taught me, I treasure. I thank you, Mum, for who you are. And I just looked at that and I just thought, thank you, God. There's trials, there's troubles in life, but when you bring God into your home, in your family, when you bring good things, not perfect things, your children do see it.
Yeah.
Model what you want your children to be. And can I just say, Joy, before we go, if you grew up in a family that didn't have that modelling, you've grown up in abuse, you've maybe grown up in fractured families, maybe all the generations have been broken, you today can be the one, the pivot, the person of point, the one that says, from today, from my generation, from my home, from my life, I'm going to turn my family, my heritage around and choose Jesus. I'm going to bring life and peace and joy and encouragement, and in the little things, be stable, consistent, be the mum that loves always and forever, the father that is the man that brings hope. You today can be that life-changing person in the generations to change your world and your children and their children.
I love the note Joe finished up on, and that's what I want to focus on today. It's about choosing a different direction for the generations after you. It's like my great-grandfather who decided that from his line onwards, there was going to be a change in who they believed in. And honestly, I don't know if I would be here with you today if my great-grandfather didn't make that decision. So there is power in making that choice. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7, when people live good, honest lives, their children are blessed. Now, there might be an aspect of this verse that doesn't quite agree with you. It's this idea that you work hard today, you change your life today, you do all the sacrifices today, and your children will be blessed. It almost seems maybe a bit unfair. But the truth is, that's a cultural mindset. It's only up until recently that we've really focused in on our lifetime, our time on earth. our forefathers, and even in the way the Bible is written, the way Jesus came not just to save people of that generation, but for many generations after. You know, we believe in a generational God who gave Abraham promises, Noah promises, who always spoke of the children and the children's children. And maybe when we look at this verse, when we look at our own lives, we need to think of it in that way too, to think beyond our own lifetime and think about how our decisions today are going to impact those who come after us. So maybe today you've got to make some decisions. You've got to make some decisions around how you live your life so that your children have a better chance. Maybe it involves making some tough decisions around your language. Maybe some tough decisions around the nutrition and food choices you make. Maybe it involves you really committing to believing in God and following out a Christian life, displaying and demonstrating it for your children. I'm not sure what it is for you, but today's application is this. What decision can you make today to live a good and honest life so that your children and your children's children will be blessed? I do want to add one other little point here. You may be saying to yourself, well, I don't have kids, so this doesn't apply to me. Or I don't really plan on having kids, so no, it's not really for me. We've got to look beyond the biological line. You can have spiritual children, or you can have people under your care who, whether you like it or not, are going to be influenced by the way you live your life. So yeah, it applies to all of us. Proverbs 20 verse 7. When people live good, honest lives, their children are blessed. Well, that wraps up today's episode of the Everyday Joy podcast. We'll catch up next time.